my friend, and everybody.
For you, this Pistons team is a team that's really up and coming. A couple years ago, of course, they were a struggling team trying to rebuild, but they've really started to come on, especially last year and then this year to start. What did you notice in how they've changed?
Defense.
Simple as that.
Man, they play defense. A lot of people have a lot to say about offense, but make no mistake about it, you got to stop people. Otherwise, you're still on the defensive side of the ball because they offensive rebounding. And if you don't stop them, then you're taking the ball out against a set defense. So I'll stand on that.
Doug, I know these veterans, Russ, DeMar in particular, of course, they're motivated by trying to win as much as possible, but how have you seen them embrace the ushering in the next era, the next generation, and taking on the challenge of leading in that sense?
You know, one of the things that I love about both of those guys is the way that they compete, the way that they're professional, and the way they come in and try to help our young players. Because, you know, you go through tough times and that does not define you, but it actually exposes the character that you truly do have. And to the man, they come in, they watch their film, they talk, they do all the little things that as these young players continue to develop, those are the character traits that we want them to embrace. And I appreciate them for that.
Coach Christie, going back to Jake's question, I believe Detroit is second in the league as far as defense. What players on this squad just pretty much stand out to you?
Well, I mean, I would just start with one, to be honest with you, because when you get like a guy like Duran, well, two, and Isaiah back there, when you get rim protection, just as a perimeter player, it gives you confidence that you can be aggressive and you can go for steals and you know they're going to get blocks. You get in the passing lane. Then there's a level of physicality that comes from that as well. And I think you see a little bit of that in Max's size and Dylan Carwell at the rim for us on the defensive end as well. But those two are definitely the anchors of what they do over there. Their physicality, their paint and rim protection is very high level.
Hey, Doug, what's going on? Duran and Kate Cunningham have the most frequently run play in the entire league. Their pick and roll. Got two questions. What is the key, or what are some of the important parts of being able to guard that? And then on another vein, DeMar, low key, is having a 50-40-90 season at 18 points per game. Tell me about his efficiency and the secret sauce.
Yeah, let's start with DeMar. You know, watching him and working with him before I sat in this present seat in the summertime, I was just so impressed with his approach to the game, the attention to detail, how he evaluates what's going on, where his aggressiveness comes from as far as what he's reading, what he's seeing. And he puts himself in good positions, which also helps his team because sometimes early he's looking to see how the defense is covering him, as opposed to a guy just going to score. You know, he scored almost 30,000 points, so you would think he's evaluating the game, trying to get to his spot, just like a ultimate professional, man, of how he goes about his business. So to hear those type of numbers, it rings to everything that he's about, how he takes care of his body, how he goes about his business. That pick and roll is big time. I mean, first the pickup point with Cade, the ability to be physical, the ability to bully over the screen, but also to navigate it, because if you can't stop it high enough, there's ability to go under the screen, depending on how he's rolling, but also Duran sets a screen. So that's a big man, and he's gonna touch you. So you have to make sure that you are on point when you go, like controlling the screener. So you got to get up and be physical with both of them, because if you allow them to dictate the physicality, that's where the pick and roll takes on a whole different aspect. Because Cade is not only a scorer, he's also a 6'8", 6'9". He can pass the basketball. So he's got the pocket pass. He's big enough to see the overhead pass. Then also, if the low man helps, he can spray it to the corner, and he sees those guys too. Then he's got guys who are cutting from 45s in the corners if they aren't shooters. So it's not just those two. They set the table, but it's the pieces that are around them that also help as well.
Hey, Doug. You before you got to before you got to your current seat, as you just mentioned, worked for years in developing players, teaching. I know you take a lot of pride in that part of it. How much are you enjoying, kind of the emphasis on bringing along the young guys, Max and Neek in particular, right now?
It's a lot of fun. I mean, there's obviously sitting here, there's a painful piece of that because I'm a competitor and in a poor sport sometimes, and I want to win. But you also know that you can actually see their growth, and that for me, when I look at Neek and I look at his physicality on ball from where he was to where he is, and getting the basketball and pushing it. He had one turnover the other night, and we looked at him like, that's what we want. He was trying to give it to Dennis to get out on the break, and it's like, nah, you tell everybody to run. We trust you with the basketball. Push it. And then his confidence, like he has to be in those positions to shoot the ball and miss it so that it hurts enough for him to get back in the gym over and over and sharpen his tool constantly. And he does that. When you look at Max, I mean, he's got so many different facets to his game because he can catch it to DHO. The one thing I mentioned to you guys, I think yesterday, was the Adams one-hand rebound. To watch him do that to somebody else is pretty high level because it lets you know that not only is he paying attention, but then he's going to try the things that are done against him. The floater continues to develop. His three-point shot, I think, is going to be a thing that as he continues to develop that, he kind of has a slow release. So that's going to play to his game. And I would like to see him keep that because, I'm not comparing him to Jokic, but Jokic has that slow release that'll get people off the ground, and then he can sweep through a la Jack Sigma and get downhill, and all of a sudden, and for those of you who don't know, Jack Sigma played for the Sonics, just in case you didn't know that. Yes, yeah. That thing was nasty. But there's just so many incredible things to watch them, and Dylan, what he does to protect the paint, his verticality is like, that is about as high level as you get. I mean, he is not scared. He sacrifices his body. He's blocking shots. He's engaged with the crowd. Like, there's a lot of that makes you happy when you are dealing with those young players.
The Pistons reached another level last year, second half of the season, on into the playoffs.
Yeah.
One of the guys who was really important in that was Dennis Schroeder.
Yes.
I'd like to hear your comments on him. We hated to lose him. He's very, very valuable.
Yeah.
What have you learned about him now that you're his coach? And by the way, I was sick of his teammate.
Yeah. Wow. That was a nasty shot, man. I tell you. Dennis identified in the summertime. We obviously needed a point guard, and watching him, went to Europe to watch him. What jumped off the screen for me, to your point, was his competitiveness and how he picked up the basketball and rubbed people the wrong way. I'm all about that. So, and it seems, I would say it is, the more tight and nasty the game gets, the better he gets. And that is a sign of a winner. And, for our guys, especially our younger guys, we want them to see that, because in those moments, we don't want you to disappear. We don't want you to back up. We want you to move forward. And he does that at a really high level. Whether it's the shots, he made a game winner the other night, setting the tone with what we say, make them feel us. That third quarter, I believe the make them feel us rate was like in the high 80s. He picked up and set the tone. And that's what I saw with you guys, because I thought that was the ability to match your opponent, especially in that Eastern Conference, with what Indiana was doing. I thought was supreme high level stuff. So he brings all of that here, and we are blessed to have him.
Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.